Hello, I'm Simon Brady from Communication Know-How, and this is a training video on using active and passive voice in your writing. Just before we get started, remember to download the activity booklet that accompanies this training video. There are some activities at the back of the booklet that you can do after we've covered the content. So when we talk about voice, there are two ways of constructing your sentences to explain what's happening in those sentences: active voice and passive voice. So let's have a look and see how it works. We know that in every sentence there is an action of some kind. So you'll understand that as the verb, if you remember from your school days, the doing word, however you want to remember it, but there is an action in every sentence. But someone or something has to perform that action as well. So if we remember those two concepts in that order, then that's when we can achieve active voice. So what are those two concepts? Who performed the action? That comes first. And then what did they do? Let's have a look at that in a sentence form. So we've got the sentence here: the manager processed the invoices. So that question, who performed the action? It's the manager. And what did she do? She processed the invoices. So performing the action and then the action itself. So in this case, the performer of the action is the manager. That comes first in the sentence, and then the action that she performed, the processing of the invoices. So those two concepts: performing of the action and then the action itself. That's active voice. Let's look at some more examples. IT staff fixed the computer. So again, that question, who performed the action? It was IT staff. And what did they do? Fixed the computer. So again, that sequence: performer, then action. IT staff, and then the fixing of the computer. And one more to demonstrate the point: the director decided that all staff should attend the meeting. So again, who's performing the action here? It's the director. And what did she do? She decided that all staff should attend the meeting. Okay, so important here that the action was the decision, and her decision was that all staff should attend the meeting. So that sequence of performer then action appears straightforward, but what it also does is make the action in that sentence very clear. And that's what you're trying to achieve, is that idea of clarity within your writing, and active voice can be the vehicle for that. To fully understand the value of active voice, we also need to understand passive voice and how it works, and how we can change voice within our sentences. So let's have a look at passive voice. And in this case, the sequence has been reversed. So it's not performer and then the action, it's the other way around. The action comes first and then the performer. So you're still asking those questions and then being able to adjust your sentence accordingly. Let's have a look at how passive voice works. So we're going back to those examples that we looked at. In this case, when we've written in the passive voice, the invoices were processed by the manager. Who performed the action? The manager. What did she do? She processed the invoices. But in this case, in the passive voice, the action comes at the start of the sentence. So the invoices were processed, that's the action. Who did it? The manager. So as you can see, it's reversed from active voice. So let's look at the passive version of those other sentences that we've been looking at. And in this case, the computer was fixed by IT staff. So you'll recall the original was IT staff fixed the computer. But when we write in the passive voice, the action comes first. What's the action in this sentence? The computer was fixed. Who did it? IT staff. And the second sentence, all staff should attend the meeting, the director decided. So you'll recall the original there was the director decided all staff should attend the meeting, but when we write in the passive, we've changed and the action is now coming before the performer. So that sequence of action, then performer. But here, this second sentence is a demonstration of the downside of passive voice, where you had to work all the way to the end of the sentence to understand what was happening in that sentence. And that's why we try to aim as much as possible to write in the active voice. If you